Alright, guys, what is going on? How y'all doing all tonight? It's good to see you again live. This is the Club of the Man 1993, and yes, we are here live for the first time in a little over a week. Second video I've done since I've returned, but yeah, we're live with my live review to catch up and review last week's episode of AEW Dynamite from the January 12th, 2022 episode of Dynamite that took place in Raleigh, North Carolina. And of course, yes, I am back. I was gone for a week. I was away on a little bit of a business trip in Vegas last week. I got back Friday afternoon, but then I spent the weekend with my girlfriend. Yesterday I got home before the bad snow hit. Hopefully, wherever you are, if you guys got hit with snow, hope you guys are okay. I'd say we got about 8 inches here, I would say. But hopefully you guys are well and safe and everything. But I was trying to catch up yesterday. Only video I ended up doing, though, before I got tired and I passed out, was my video honoring the recent death of Bob Saget. Definitely give that video some love, though, if you can, for sure. But, of course, on now to some wrestling content, and I have a trailer I will do tonight also, and hopefully another part of my Harry Potter Let's Play. Keeping that moving on a smooth pace so far. I definitely want to get that one done as quickly as possible. But yes, we are live to talk about last week's episode of Dynamite, the January 12th, 2022 edition, again, that took place in Raleigh, North Carolina. And I thought it was a good show. Not quite as, not quite as must-see as the TBS debut of Dynamite, but I think it was a good show. And it set up a lot of things that come down the line. We had a return, and we also had a anticipated debut as well happen on this episode of Dynamite. And we also finally saw a power couple finally share the ring together. Well, a real-life couple finally share the ring together, and set up for a mixed tag match, I believe, coming up. Which I'm sure is a match, it's something we definitely wanted to see since someone made their way to AEW, baby. But we'll talk about that in just a moment. Looks like we got Tyler and JR in the live chat. What's up, guys? Tyler says, "Hey, Mike, welcome back." Thank you, Tyler. Tyler gave the show a C-. JR says, "Who do you think from Impact Wrestling is going to be in the WWE Men's Royal Rumble match this year if the Forbidden Door is open?" I don't know. I mean, I haven't really watched too much Impact. I mean, if I was going female-wise, I know Mickie James is going to be there. If I had a choice, definitely Deonna Purrazzo for the women. But I know I don't think, well, then again, I would say her and WWE weren't on the best terms. And then again, I'm pretty sure Mickie James and the WWE weren't on the best terms. Yet, look what happened there now. But I don't know too many men's wrestlers. I don't know, maybe like Sami Callihan, if you wanted to, slide him in there. Whatnot, but I don't know too many men's wrestlers. That's maybe very few. Or of course, Big Cass. Will W. Morrissey, I think his name is, in Impact right now. So I can't really answer that question, but probably the best answers I could really give. But let's get rolling and let's talk about this past week's episode of Dynamite, as I'm doing that instead of watching Raw. Yeah, that's right. I'm not watching Raw tonight again, and it's a little less than 2 weeks before the Royal Rumble, and I'm not watching Raw. That's how much I don't care. That's how much I just absolutely do not care. Let's talk about some good stuff, though. Let's talk about Dynamite. We open up with Adam Cole, baby! And Red Dragons, Kyle O'Reilly, and Bobby Fish, which I'm rumored they're going to be called Paragon. We'll see if that goes through or not, but that's the rumor I'm hearing. But Adam Cole gets on the microphone and of course says, "Who's ready for story time with Adam Cole, baby?" 2021 was a great year for the three of them, and 2022 is going to be even better. It reminds everybody that he's undefeated in singles competition, and on top of that, the boys are back together. Out come the Young Bucks, which Matt Jackson said he kicked some butt in 2 days when he was sick, and figured they'd come to the ring and join them. Kyle O'Reilly says nobody invited them and they don't need help winning. Matt Jackson then puts over Fish and O'Reilly as one of the best teams in wrestling and says they're right. They didn't need the help. But the Bucks do have to make one thing clear. This is their company. They are the longest reigning AEW World Tag Team Champions. And their New Year's resolution? Get those belts back. Kyle says it's funny because they have the same resolution, and Bobby Fish says not a single team on this planet can stand between them and the tag titles. Adam Cole, though, tries to spin it as a friendly competition, says that that's what makes them the greatest faction in history. Compare them to the Best Friends, who are absolute jokes. Trying to, bring, the Young Bucks and Red Dragon to coexist. Can they, of course, coexist? Again, this is going to lead to a very good feud eventually between Red Dragon and the Young Bucks, which would be an awesome match for sure. And, of course, Adam Cole and Kenny Omega, which, again, would also be awesome for sure. Out then comes Best Friends. The two factions square up, and Cole yells about cutting their mic. He asks what Orange Cassidy could possibly say that's of any importance. And then Cassidy says nothing and jumps in with a double leg, and you get a big wild brawl going. Cassidy lights up Cole with forearms. Everybody else goes back to the floor. A back body drop puts Brandon Cutler also into everyone. But then, of course, the Best Friends has a female member of their team, and that's Chris Statlander. Well, of course, who you gotta bring out female-wise to back up the Undisputed Elite Paragon, whatever the heck you want to call it? No one other than the lover, the real-life boyfriend of Adam, got that way wrong. Real-life girlfriend of Adam Cole, baby, the current AEW Women's World Champion, probably one of the best wrestlers in the world today, and from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, huge Steeler fan, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, comes out, and she attacks Chris Statlander and puts her in her place, before holding Orange Cassidy in place for Adam Cole with a super kick, and then the boom! The Elite stand tall, and then Adam Cole then poses for the Bucks to do their usual kiss on his cheeks. But then Britt Baker steps in and goes, this is how we're, not my man, this is how we're going to do it. And for the first time, I believe at least on live TV, of course, we see Adam Cole, baby, and Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, smooch on live TV. Baby! Okay, a little bit too animated there, but yes, Adam Cole and Britt Baker shared a kiss on live TV, which was, of course, something we want to see, since we all know they're a real-life couple. They've been together for quite a while now. I'm not sure how many years they've been together, but definitely quite a while. I think this led to, on Rampage this past week, they had a mixed tag match with Cole and Baker teamed up to take on Cassidy and Statlander. I'm sure that was a fun match, but that's a good way to start off the good show. Following that, we then had the match with Wardlow, who had been on a tear lately, taking on CM Punk. As, of course, MJF continues to hide behind his Pinnacle brothers to prevent him from CM Punk wrestling him. Of course, CM Punk is after, costing MJF his matches, because MJF technically is 0-1 so far in 2022 because Punk got MJF disqualified. But then, of course, Wardlow, who's been they've been teasing, of course, this breakup with Wardlow and the Pinnacle, and a tease the face turned from him. They're having basically Shawn Spears and MJF tell him what to do, because MJF claims that Wardlow's under contract for him. So, Wardlow dominated Punk in this match. No doubt about it, dominated. But yet, whenever, Wardlow hit 5 power bombs on him, he goes to do a one-footed pin, but then MJF got on the rope, and tells him to back off. He wants more power bombs. Basically, he wants Wardlow to hurt Punk so bad that Punk can't even come after him. Wardlow hits another. MJF says he wants more. He drags Punk up to number 7th. MJF asks the crowd what happened to their hero Punk and calls for another one. He keeps going and going. Punk rolls to the apron to give a weak thumbs up whenever Aubrey Edwards asks if he can continue. MJF though cuts Wardlow off and clears the timekeeper's table, and it says hit another powerbomb. He powerbombs Punk through the table, and Punk is out. Aubrey starts her count, but then somehow Punk beat the count, got back in the ring. MJF then orders Wardlow again to powerbomb Punk for the 9th time, but instead it caused Punk to sneak in an inside cradle to somehow get the victory. Wardlow pretty much squashed Punk in this match, but of course could have ended this match ages ago. But MJF, wanted to make sure Punk was hurt enough to not come back because he doesn't want to face Punk. It did not work. So, after the match, MJF gets into it with Wardlow, and Shawn Spears gets between them to play Peacemaker. And then Mr. Mayhem just storms off, and we go to break. And of course, we would hear from MJF again later, who would tease the fact that he would finally fight Punk, but instead he set up a match next week between Punk and Shawn Spears. Now, how are you going to go from 8 power bombs to chair shots from the chairman? I don't know. It looks like Punk, MJF is running out of people to hide behind, but it's a good way to keep Punk busy before we get to Revolution. Let's see what happens there. Dante Martin then had a pretty good match with Powerhouse Hobbs. It looked like Team Taz was going to help them out, but then Jay Lethal runs in to cut Ricky Starks off, and then Dante took advantage and gets a winner with a pinfall victory. Inner Circle also are voted PWI's 2021 Faction of the Year. And then Jericho says since day one in AEW, their mission statement has never wavered. They're here to dominate the company and to be the biggest, baddest, and band of blood brothers this industry has ever seen. And if 2.0 wants to get involved with their boy Sammy Guevara tonight as he battles Daniel Garcia for the interim TNT Championship, they'll take care of it. By the way, Cody Rhodes is supposed to be back next week as advertised, so not sure how long it'll be until they do a unification match with Sammy Guevara and Cody Rhodes. Eddie Kingston, though, rolls up and says he doesn't care about Sammy. He wants Daniel Garcia because he jacked his knee up. And further, Jericho is why Ortiz and Santana haven't been tag team champions yet. Jericho tells him to get the hell out of their business. Santana tells him to get their shit together and leaves. Eddie asks Ortiz for backup, but he leaves, and Jake Hager walks out too. Jericho says how Eddie's welcome to be at ringside, but if he gets involved, he might just kick his ass too. They're taking these for a pretty good program for Eddie Kingston and Chris Jericho, which I'm enjoying. They have the interesting way of trying to keep both of the baby faces for sure, but they still have the common enemy in Daniel Garcia and 2.0. And this, of course, is when MJF comes back out and calls out Punk, and basically says that it'll be CM Punk versus Shawn Spears next week. And also we have Adam Cole and the Bucks and Red Dragon kind of pro on Best Friends, and Britt joins them to challenge Cassidy and Statlander. Oh, it's for a mixed tag match next week, not on Rampage, my bad. Then we have Hangman Adam Page come out, say he spent 90 minutes the past 2 months in the ring against the best in the world, and he's poured sweat and enough blood to float a battleship to keep the greatest prize in wrestling, the AEW World Title. And it's still his, god damn it. But 90 minutes isn't enough. It's a new year, records have reset, and the Hangman needs a new challenger. Which, of course, we are moving on from Hangman and Danielson, who had 2 really good matches. And we're moving on to see who's next. Who's next for some cowboy shit? Well, that brings out Dan Lambert, which Paige asks us to shoot him. Lambert talks about the greatest wrestling cowboys of his youth. Bill Watts, Stan Hansen, the Funks, and now this East Coast cowboy is what we've got. Hangman says if Page or Ethan Page or Scorpio Sky want a match, all they gotta do is ask, which I hate when they say that, but we're gonna go on. Lambert says he knows what Page could do, and the matches against Danielson were some of the best ever seen. And the thing he likes most is that he didn't take the Cody Rhodes path. He earned everything he has in this business, with the exception, though, of his gimmick. He comes across as stealing a legacy completely full of cowboy shit. Page says turning down a 6-figure contract isn't cowboy shit, and tells Dan to come in the ring and let him shove his size 12 boots somewhere else. Then Lambert goes to make his exit, but then out came Lance Archer, who's been out for quite a while, and I believe it was Dan Lambert and his crew that took him out. Archer is back. Lambert runs in the ring, and Lance grabs him by the hoodie, but then instead he turns the tables and attacks Hangman Adam Page, and then he takes him out with the blackout into a chair. So I guess the next challenger, I don't know if it's going to be at probably Beach Break, which is still a shame to me because, again, they brought Lance Archer in as such a big star for sure, and they had so much momentum. I honestly still think he should have beaten Cody Rhodes to become the first TNT champion. Like, he was built like a monster. I mean, I don't know if he still is. He did win the IWGP United States Championship from Jon Moxley, I think on this night 2 of Fyter Fest last summer. I don't know if he still is champion or not. I mean, he's been out with an injury, so I doubt he is. But I don't know. It's like they really slowed down after he got off to a very hot start in that feud with Cody Rhodes, and then they kind of went back and forth. He was a heel one week and the babyface every week. It's like, make a little more sense, basically. And he shouldn't be just a placeholder, for someone to wrestle for a title match. Like, he definitely deserves a championship, definitely. So hopefully at some point they'll throw him a bone. But it was good to see him back. He looked pretty good. We then have Arn Anderson, Lee Johnson, and Brock Anderson backstage. Arn says he's proud of both dudes and says they're going to experience something they never had before, and that is this Horseman country. Tully Blanchard FTR roll, but Tully tells Arn if he really wants to relive those days, he needs to join up with them and end up making a tag match for next week. We also get a hype reel then for the new first ever TBS champion, Jade Cargill. But then we have this. We got, again, take away from what I've said, how I feel like they screwed up the feud just a little bit with the whole 50th win thing. This stuff right here with Serena Deeb and Hikaru Shida was great. They're supposed to have another match, but before the match happens, Serena Deeb attacks Hikaru Shida and puts her knee into the steel steps. We get the bell, but then Serena Deeb just goes to town on her. She stomps the knee, stomps the hairstring, destroyed Hikaru Shida's leg, tearing the knee pad off, putting the arm into the Serenity Lock, smashed the knee into the mat, and the Serenity Lock was then locked in. Like, she beat Shida so bad that the referee had to do referee stoppage. That is actual match stoppage, because Serena, well, first off, it wasn't a Hell in a Cell match. Yes, I'm firing shots back to Hell in a Cell 2019 with Seth Rollins and The Fiend. That's right, I went there. But Serena Deeb realistically destroyed Hikaru Shida. And afterwards, she got the kendo stick and beat her down with it, hammering the knee. Aubrey Edwards and Mike Posey come to the ring to pull her off. And then people come out trying to help Shida, but Serena Deeb just absolutely snapped. And basically said that, Shida got what she deserved. But man, oh man, was that vicious. That was definitely a vicious moment right there from Serena Deeb. They're really bringing out more of a dark side of Serena Deeb. And WWE just want her just to be a coach, a trainer. Wow. Don't know the reasons behind that, but you never know. That was awesome, though. We also have Christian Cage and Jurassic Express interview backstage about them winning the titles. Which, by the way, when I was on my trip last week, I walked past a barbecue Mexican restaurant, and as I was walking past, I heard Jungle Boy's Jurassic Express's theme music. Oh, 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 and I'm just like, that's right, I heard that at that restaurant. But anyways, the Jurassic Express, the new World Tag Team Champions, are talking about wanting a challenge, and the Beaver Boys roll up and they get a title match. Matt Hardy then comes out and cuts a promo on Penta El Zero Miedo, says tonight is his backyard, as they are in North Carolina, his hometown, in front of his beautiful family. He's going to delete Penta El Zero Miedo and send him to the hospital to be with his brother, Rey Fenix, who is only going to be out 6 to 8 weeks with that injury he suffered in that tag match last week, thank goodness. Which, by the way, no, I'll save it. I'll save it until after the match, because that's when it happens. And we had a pretty good match, solid match with Matt Hardy and Penta El Zero Miedo. Penta wins with the Fear Factor. But afterwards, Penta calls out Malachi Black and says he's going to show Black some respect. But then the lights go out. They come back on, and Malachi was in the ring. He drops Alex Abrahantes with a big boot, punches for Penta, super kick, and Black draws him up and tears at his mask. But out came the Varsity Bloods, Griff Garrison and Brian Pillman Jr. to make the save. And Julia Hart was cheerleading from the apron, and Black, though, was laughing in the ring as he counts the number of men in the ring. And the lights go out again, and they come back on, and finally debuting is Brody King, which I don't know much about him, but I've been hearing hype videos of him for a while. But he comes out and he just wrecks house. He takes out Pillman with a cannonball and a senton in the corner. Malachi takes out Griff Garrison, which JR did botch and called Aleister Black, by FYI. And then they just tore them up. And yeah, the House of Black is starting to force Brody King debut. Now, apparently originally he was supposed to debut last week, which is why they did have, I think, that brief blackout for a second, or they're at least teasing it. But apparently because of Penta Rey Fenix's injury, they cut it until this week. But he's here. And also, credit to Just Alex for this. He pointed out that you notice the more powerful Malachi Black gets, the more red his one eye gets. Didn't really notice it, but an interesting analogy. But yes, the Kings of the Black Throne are here, as, again, we are definitely getting, some type of a stable built up here with Malachi Black and the House of Black, which will be awesome. He's someone else, I think, it might be time soon to put a championship on him. We'll see, of course, where they go with it, but I'm intrigued for sure. We have an interview with Chris Statlander about her mixed tag match next week with Orange Cassidy taking on Adam Cole and Britt Baker. But then Layla Hirsch, who apparently Chris Statlander and Layla Hirsch have been having some beef with each other on Rampage. Layla asks her if she thinks that's selfish because they have a tag on the books too, and Red Velvet tells them she needs both of them to work together. I think they had like a 6-woman tag match this past Friday on Rampage, I believe it was. We have a decent match with the Acclaimed and Bear Country. And then the Acclaimed win. Afterwards, though, Darby Allin and Sting come out and they attack the Acclaimed. I guess sets up for a tag match between them next week. We also have a video package from Pac, who talks about how he was told he may never see again, but it's just another setback, and now he sees everything. He appreciates the blessing, and now his perspective is different, and his vision has never been so clear. So it's teasing him, on his way back after he was taken out with the black mist from Malachi Black. So I guess they'll be having a match when they get back. Matt Hardy also was being interviewed, saying maybe he's too focused on the Hardy family office, not of himself. Then Andrade El Idolo rolls up to offer him like a business proposal for them to work together. So they go off privately and talk together. And then the main event was Sammy Guevara defending his interim TNT title championship against Daniel Garcia in a pretty good match. Guevara wins as well. What I think it's called the GTH, I think it's called. Afterwards, though, 2.0 jump him from behind, and then Chris Jericho runs off with 2.0 with Floyd, and then Eddie Kingston comes out, and they basically stare each other down as the show went off the air. So yeah, that's Dynamite. I gave it a B. It was good. It was more of a good show that just set up things to come. I mean, the biggest stories tonight, of course, was Adam Cole and Britt Baker, coming together live on TV. Brody King's debut, definitely. Lance Archer's return was awesome, also. So it was a good show. I gave it a B. Check the live chat. Tower says that AJ should win the Royal Rumble. I'm not opposed. Again, I am not opposed at all, especially, if they're slowly getting rid of the brand split or whatnot. And again, if they want to do Roman Reigns and AJ Styles at WrestleMania for the WWE title, be my guest and go right ahead. So I'm not against that at all whatsoever. I would be okay with AJ winning the Rumble. And why is the Jackass guy in the Rumble, but Goldberg isn't? Oh, yeah, I forgot about the rant about that guy. Yeah, that's how they're hyping up the men's Rumble. Some guy from Jackass, which I don't really care because I don't watch Jackass, but, But, yep, that's my review of Dynamite this week, guys. I'm at least going to do a Harry Potter Let's Play, and then, of course, one turn alert from last week's episode of Raw. Because I'm not watching this week's episode of Raw. Nope, not at all. But I'll do the one turn alert that happened last week on Raw, and I'll be doing it for tonight probably. But yep, again, like I said, in the new year, I'm still. Oh, that's right. I still at some point before the Rumble next weekend, I gotta do my recap and review of last year's Rumble matches, which I normally do every year. But I was crazy busy with getting stuff for my trip. It was a business trip last week, so I'm home now. Like I said, my goal is, even though I'm not doing the same stuff as I used to try to get back on track with consistently putting out content on the channel again this year, because I was just burned out in 2021, especially from wrestling. But like I said, my goal now is just to produce things that I actually enjoy talking about and that are actually fun. So expect probably 2 more videos tonight, but I am going to get back on the horse and try to get more Seinfeld reviews knocked out, as well as we are venturing into season 5 now with Seinfeld. But guys, thanks for joining me. Tyler and JR, of course, that's my review of Dynamite from last week. Hopefully I get this week's episode in on time, but we'll see. But what were your thoughts on past week's episode of Dynamite? Leave thoughts down in the comments section below. And be sure as always to slap a like on the video and subscribe for more content to my channel. And follow me on Twitter as well at DemandAirboy93. Till then, guys, I'm checking out. I'll catch you all later. Have a good rest of your night. And peace out, everybody.